Hey, what's going on, Rockstars? Welcome back to the Rockstarflipper YouTube channel. I appreciate everyone being here, and in just a few short hours, I will be on the big jet plane headed out to Las Vegas, Nevada. So all of you that are already there, or any of you that are joining me on Tuesday or the rest of the week, I can't wait to see you guys. Can't wait to be there. And let's get it on. Let's do it. Let's make this happen. Vegas 2017 eBay Open. Exciting. Very, very exciting. In the meantime, guys, since I'll be on the plane pretty much the majority of the day, it is like a 4.5 to 5 hour flight across the entire country. I got to go up Florida and then across. Give you guys a little video to watch here. And I've seen a ton of people in my comments section talking about quitting eBay, talking about how they're done with eBay or they're done with Amazon, they're done with selling, they don't understand why they can't make it work on Instagram, whatever it is. So I wanted to put together a little bit of a list of 10 reasons why I see most people that fail and why they fail. And these 10 aren't to discourage you. These 10 are to give you a list of things to do or not do that you can go down. You can screenshot this, you can photograph it, you can save it, whatever, and you can make sure that you don't make the same mistakes that a lot of the other people that I have seen come and go made. And with that said, I'm just going to jump over to a PowerPoint presentation that I have on my laptop. I keep this on my laptop in case anybody wants to get into reselling as a new seller. I send this PowerPoint presentation. I can save it on a PDF or save it as a file and ship it over to them. And that way they can, kind of plan ahead of time before they just jump right into selling. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. Okay, guys, so here's the top 10 reasons that eBay or Amazon sellers fail. So number one is a lack of education. Sellers don't educate themselves on the rules and procedures of eBay or Amazon. And it's basically just the do's and don'ts. It can be anything from Vero listings or trademarks or items that you're not allowed to sell. For example, like OtterBox or onesies or Velcro, all the way to duplicating listings or trying to sell items that are gated, even taking too long to respond to customers or letting your metrics fail and fall to numbers that are too low, which can easily get them kicked off of the platforms or one or the other or both. All of these things can cause somebody to either quit eBay or Amazon or just get booted off and fail altogether. When you start a business, whether it's eBay or Amazon or plumbing or an investor or a stockbroker, you got to educate yourself on the rules of the business. Every rule or every business has rules and things that you can and can't do in them. And I know a lot of people are like, well, how was I supposed to know that I couldn't list something with Velcro? That's a great question. And that's why you have to educate yourself and go into groups like my Facebook group or go onto YouTube or go to Instagram or go to Twitter or Facebook. And it doesn't mean go to mine. It could be tons of other sellers and just ask them, what are things that I should look out for, things that I shouldn't do, things that I should do. I'm a new seller. I'm trying to educate myself and I'm trying to learn the things that I don't want to do to get in trouble. And it's really just a little bit of work, a little bit of research and a little bit of education will save you a lot of heartache down the road. So that's number one, lack of education. It costs everybody in every business. If you don't educate yourself, you've got no chance to succeed. All right, number two is kind of along the same lines, but it's not having a plan. And most sellers never make a business plan. They kind of just jump into whatever it is they're going to do. So the business plan needs to include quite a few things. And one of it is like the amount of starting capital. One of the biggest things anybody needs to know when they're starting a business is how much money is it going to take to start that business? What do you need for supplies? What do you need for equipment? What do you need for inventory? What do you need for, savings? What do you need for bill money? What do you need for employees? What do you need for a building? Whatever the business is, what do you need for fees or for a store startup? There's always a cost associated with a business. So make sure you understand those costs and that you have saved more than enough money beyond that cost for those, unplanned expenses, that you have plenty of starting capital to do whatever the business is that you want to do, whether it's $1,000 or $100,000. Every business has an associated capital cost. So make sure you understand that cost and that you're ready for it. Along with having a plan, again, with the money, make sure that you know what business supplies and equipment you need, not just how much they cost, but which ones you need. You need a scale. Do you need mannequins? Do you need lighting? What can you start with? What can wait? What do you need from day one? What do you need from week one, month one, year one? And what kind of items are just when you have the money or the ability to get them? Because listen, mannequins aren't a must-have on day one. Are they good to have? Absolutely. Can you list flat lay? Of course you can. You don't have to have certain items. A scale is a have-to-have item. You got to be able to weigh your stuff. So make sure you know what items you need right off of the top. Make sure that you understand your scheduling from the day that you're listing to sourcing to shipping or whatever your business is. This goes for any business, really. Make sure you make a schedule of when you're going to run this business. Is it part-time? Is it full-time? Is it before you go to work? Is it after you go to work? Do you not have a job? You're going to be doing this all day. Do you have kids you have to look after? In between, soccer and school or whatever, write down a schedule and when you're able to work on the business so you understand how many hours a day you have. What category are you going to sell in? Again, this is specified towards sellers, eBay and Amazon sellers, but this could be for any business, really. Are you going to sell clothes? Are you going to sell electronics? Are you going to sell toys? Are you going to sell a little bit of everything? Because it's very important to try to get in the right category. And we'll hit on this later in another one of the items, but it's very, very important to pick the right category. And I'll explain to you why in just a few minutes. And the last thing that you need to have as part of a business plan is the back end of your business. Make sure you know how to account for it. You know how to do your bookkeeping. You know how to do your taxes, your receipts. You have a filing system, a storage system, all those things. You have a computer you're going to keep it all on, bank accounts to keep things personal and business and all that stuff. Make sure you have a business plan that covers all pieces of the business, start to finish. Otherwise, you're starting off failing. All right, let's move to number 3, and that's research. And this goes along with having a plan, but when you do decide what you're going to sell, you need to research that product and you need to make sure that it's the correct product. Otherwise, you might try selling something like, let's say today you decide, oh, fidget spinners are awesome. The market's dead. They're dead. Or Hatchimals, oh, those things were selling awesome at Christmas. I bet I can sell those. No, you can't. So make sure that you do product research. Not just the current market pricing, but also supply and demand. Make sure the demand isn't going down. Make sure you look up sourcing prices and supplier research. You could figure out that fidget spinners are the greatest thing since mankind and sliced bread. But if you've got no way to get them, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're worth $1 million a piece. If you can't get them or you don't have a supplier or a way to source that particular product or that category, then it's worthless to you. I see some people that are like, oh, I buy and sell, winter coats all year long. Well, I live in Florida. There aren't exactly a lot of winter coats to buy and sell. So that's not something that I really heavily rely on. I go for Hawaiian shirts and flip-flops and things of that nature. So really look at what you have available to you. Make sure that you understand the fees and the shipping costs associated with buying and selling each of those items. Again, somebody that's selling winter coats is going to have much more shipping expenses than I would selling a pair of swimming trunks. So make sure you understand that as well. And last, make sure you understand your overhead expenses. That's what are you paying for your QuickBooks or your GoDaddy per month? How much are you spending on gas to source? How much are you spending on shipping materials? How much are you spending on a part-time employee? All these things are, research that you need to get the information for, write it down, put it in your computer, and then put it into your business plan from number 2. So number 3 is do your research. Number 4 is being unprepared financially. So new sellers a lot of times will underestimate the amount of money that it takes to get started. Always try to overestimate. So the initial investment on inventory is obvious. How much money are you going to put into inventory in order to get going? So whatever that number is, I say double it. If you think you can buy $2,000 or $3,000 worth of merchandise and get yourself rolling, you probably can. But try to get yourself ready at $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000. Try to be over that number. Always try to be over the number. The cost of your shipping supplies, your materials, your bubble wrap, your envelopes, your tape, your guns, all that stuff. Calculate that up and make sure that's part of your initial opening capital. Equipment like mannequins or lightings or cameras or storage bins or an office or rent or a storage unit, whatever those costs are, they've got to be included in there as well. Make sure that you understand how much money you're going to be spending on taxes, because for some people, and not all people, the tax bill is going to come after a month or 3 months. Maybe you pay quarterly. In 90 days, you're going to have a tax bill. So make sure you understand how taxes work and how much they're going to cost you based on your sales. Now, we can't predict our sales, but you can know based on the first little while when you get started how much you're selling and how much you're going to have to pay for taxes. Also, keep in mind that on some platforms, Amazon's a 14-day hold, eBay, when you first start off, can be a hold until the items are delivered or confirmed and feedback's left, etc., etc. Make sure that you don't expect to buy something and get paid for it the same day or the next day. Make sure that you know there are holds on money. For a lot of, times it can be a week, 2 weeks, or more. Keep that in mind. Another part of being prepared financially is being prepared to wait for your money to come in. All right, number 5 is the wrong merchandise. This goes into researching your product. A lot of people do pick the wrong merchandise, and they pick it because it's what they saw their friend selling or what they saw somebody else in another state selling online. And although that sounds great and maybe somebody else is doing really good at it, it doesn't mean it's best for you. I used to say this in a lot of my videos, I still do, that you have to do what works for you. And part of that is buying merchandise that is available to you. Don't just sell clothes because you see everyone else selling clothes. You may not have a good source for clothes, or maybe you're not good at clothes, or maybe you hate fashion or clothes. Research the products that you have access to and then figure out which ones are going to work best for you. And try to pick something that you have knowledge in. If you're a big video gamer, obviously you're going to be drawn to video games because you may know which ones have more value than other ones. If you don't know a single thing about jewelry and you try to jump on and start selling jewelry, there's a chance you're going to lose money or you're going to buy the wrong stuff. Try to do something that you have at least a little bit of knowledge in. That way you can reduce the learning curve. So number 5 is picking the wrong merchandise to sell. Number 6, organization or lack of organization. One of my favorite things to talk about. The biggest success fail rate, I think, for entrepreneurs is whether they were organized or not organized when they begin. You can have the best business plan, the best merchandise, the best, huge amounts of money. If you're not organized and you lose track of it all, none of it matters. You're eventually going to fail. The lack of organization will catch up to you. Please put that in your notes as a motto to live by. Lack of organization will catch up to you, always. Make sure it's your inventory that's organized. Make sure your accounting, your bookkeeping, your software programs are organized. Make sure your days are organized. Schedule it. Get a day planner. Make sure your bank accounts are organized with a personal account, a business account. Separate it all. Organization, guys. I'll stress it till the end of time. Organize, 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 or it will catch up to you. And when it does catch up to you, if it doesn't cause you to fail, it's going to cause you a huge, huge amount of time, effort, and probably money to fix. All right, number 6, let's move on. Number 7 is overspending. Sellers get excited when sales come in and spend it all on personal things. It's a huge mistake. You've always got to reinvest your money. I'm not saying you have to reinvest all of it, but the more that you reinvest when you start out, the better, of course. Once your business grows and you have, money rolling in, you can spend more on yourself. But in the meantime, you got to cut the personal spending. There's no set amount of money to reinvest. And I'm not saying, reinvest 50% or 75%, but make sure you can always afford your inventory, your supplies, your materials, your taxes. All those expenses are covered and that you have more beyond that left over. And make sure that you still have working capital to buy more inventory, of course. Just cut that personal spending out to the max. When you get started, you really got to thin out the bills. You really got to be frugal and spend as little as possible to put as much as possible into the business. Number 8 is understanding that it takes money to make money. And don't be scared to spend money. So some people take my last tip and they're like, oh, I want to keep all the money in the bank. I want to keep all the money in the bank. The problem is if you keep the money in the bank all month, now next month comes, the bills are due and you have to spend all that money. You didn't turn that 5,000 into 7 or 9 or 10,000. You kept it at 5,000 and now you pay all the bills that are 3,000 and you only have 2,000 left to reinvest to make money with. You got to spend money. Research for bigger deals. Pull the trigger. Don't be scared of them. If you've done your research and you've planned well, don't be scared. Don't second guess yourself. Every dollar that you spend could potentially be producing $3 or more. You could be doubling and tripling your money in this business pretty quickly. And at those rates, you'll recover the original capital with no time at all. And whenever you do decide to spend large amounts of money or invest any amount of money really into inventory, make sure that you've done all of the things we talked about before. You've researched it, you've planned it, you've looked at the categories, you understand the expenses, and you're ready to go. Don't just go buying stuff just to say, oh, I got to put this money somewhere. I'm just going to dump it into this bag of fidget spinners and oh, now you have a bunch of inventory you can't sell. Remember that, guys. All right, number 9 is don't blow the money. Don't take unnecessary risks like I just talked about and just buy something just to buy it or because somebody else talked you into it. You do your research. Only trust you. Don't go off of anybody else's numbers. Look up items every single time. I don't care if somebody tells you that X is worth $5 million. Worst case, you can get $1 million. Here, give me 10 bucks. You do the research. You look the item up. There's a reason they're selling it to you and not selling it themselves. Make sure you know what you're buying and how much you're spending. Don't let a potential profit or excitement over an item blur your judgment. Never do that. Happens all the time. And don't get lazy after you do spend the money and let the inventory sit. Remember, once you've spent a large amount of money, that should be the ultimate motivation to get out there and sell it. Get the money back, guys. All right, that's number 9 is don't blow your money. Let's move on to number 10, the last one, which is adapt and change. eBay and Amazon are obviously ever-changing marketplaces. They require you to change with the times. We've all discovered that just right here in the last few months with the summer slowdown. Make sure you're trying sales and promotions. Make sure you're running ads. Advertise your store on social media. Make sure you implement the new return policies, the new handling, the new shipping. Try all the things that eBay gives you or Amazon gives you. Pay-per-click ads or Instagram or Facebook ads to try to promote your stuff. Try doing better photos. Try adding, subtitles or whatever it is you have to do. If your store's not selling and you're not making money, then you got to change it up. You got to change your photos. You got to change your listings, your titles. You got to change the type of merchandise you're buying. Whatever it is you have to do, you got to adapt and change in business or you will fail. Businesses change minute, hourly, weekly, daily, monthly, yearly. Every day you got to be looking at a way to make money. And once you find something that works, do what works. But if you start seeing it fail or drop or decline, then you got to adapt and you got to change it to get it back to where it was. All right, guys, let's move on to the conclusion here is that many eBay sellers do fail. I understand it. I see it. I guess more probably fail than actually achieve fortune or even small success on eBay. I got to be honest. I see way more people failing and quitting lately than I've ever seen in a long time. It's kind of depressing. Selling full-time really requires dedication and planning. It requires time and money, of course, but it requires dedication and planning. Without it, you're never going to make it. And don't become a full-time seller thinking that those successes or fortunes or monies are going to happen overnight. It's not. It's going to take you 6 months. It's going to take you 12 months, a year, 18 months. You may get lucky and in a couple of months, in 90 days, you're making bank. You're doing $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 in sales. But it may be 6 months where you're still doing $2,000 or $3,000 in sales. It may take you a while to hit your groove and get running. But don't give up. Don't just because a few bad months go by, don't quit. Don't let it, get you down. Most sellers that I see starting, they want instant success instead of having patience. Part of being a business owner is having patience. And it takes time to improve the sales. All you have to do is work at it, change, adapt, and take these 10 failures into account, put them in your phone, don't make these mistakes, and the success will come with time. As long as you're willing to put the time into it, you'll get what you put into it. 100%. Tenfold, you get what you put into eBay and Amazon. Remember that, guys. So with a lot of work, a lot of dedication, some planning, some research, and a little bit of time and money, you can make some really good money being an online reseller. Hopefully this helps you guys out. Hopefully it helps you avoid some mistakes. And maybe you can start fresh and use these rules and get yourself back online and get your business back in good standing and start making some money, guys. Appreciate it. I am on my way to Las Vegas. If you're watching this, I'm probably on a plane right now. So I will see you guys again Monday night. I should have another video out. Maybe live, maybe recorded from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, eBay Open 2017. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Give this video a big thumbs up. Share it on your social media if you can to help out other business owners. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys a little later. Good night, everyone.